One evening, I was sitting on the sofa with my cat lying in my lap, and I placed my hand on his back. The purring was coming out steadily, warm and familiar. I thought to myself that he was happy, he was comfortable, and everything was fine. 3 days later, I took him to the veterinarian because he stopped eating. After the doctor finished the examination, he looked at me and said that my cat had been in pain for at least a week. A week. Meanwhile, I was sitting next to him every night, listening to the purring, and thinking that everything was fine. I spent the next 4 months trying to find out why I missed that, reading every single study I could find, and talking to people who work in feline behavior. I even reviewed footage from the home cameras and looked for things I had not seen. And what I discovered about purring, about something that most cat owners are never taught, is the reason I am making this video. Because if you have a cat and you think purring means they are happy, then there is a possibility you need to know about right now. Before I tell you what I found out, I need to say one thing. The assumption that purring means happiness is not a foolish assumption. It is not something you just made up. Cats really do purr when they are content, when they are petted in the right spots, when they are lying in a familiar and warm place, or when they feel safe next to someone they trust. All of that is completely true. The problem is not that the assumption is wrong. The problem is that it is only a part of the truth. And the rest of it, the part that most of us do not know, is something that can make a massive difference for your cat. Because purring does not have just one function. It has at least 3. And to understand why, we need to start with a question that few people ever think about, which is what purring actually is, physiologically speaking. Most people think purring comes from the larynx, just like a cat's regular vocalizations. But that is not the case. Purring is produced by the rapid and rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles inside the larynx, happening about 25 to 150 times per second. That continuous contraction creates vibrations, not only when breathing out, but also when inhaling. That is why purring sounds like a continuous, uninterrupted sound. And that vibration frequency, from about 25 to 150 hertz, is the crucial number. Because multiple independent studies from various fields have shown that vibrations within this frequency range have a direct impact on biological tissue. It stimulates bone regeneration, reduces inflammation, and accelerates the healing of wounds on soft tissue. In other words, a cat's body, physiologically, is designed to heal itself through the act of purring. And this is where things start to get much more complicated than the simple story most of us have been told. Because if purring is a self-healing mechanism, then when does the body need healing the most? In 2001, Dr. Elizabeth von Muggenthaler at the Fauna Communications Research Institute did something that not many previous researchers had thought of. She mapped the purring frequencies of various feline species, from domestic cats to big cats, and compared those frequencies with the frequency range that has been proven to have therapeutic effects on bone and muscle tissue. The match was almost perfect. And more importantly, feline behaviorists have recorded purring occurring in situations that have nothing to do with happiness. Cats purr while giving birth, when injured, and when they are in the process of dying. They even purr when they are under severe stress. The current hypothesis among researchers is that purring in those situations is not an emotional signal. It is a survival mechanism. The body automatically activates it to relieve pain, to stimulate recovery, and to maintain musculoskeletal function during periods of immobility. And there is another reason, a deeper one, why this happens so silently. Cats in the wild are both predators and prey for larger species. An animal that clearly shows pain becomes a target. Evolution has selected individuals that are good at hiding weakness, and purring might be one of those very mechanisms, reducing pain from the inside without sending any signals to the outside world. This is the part that kept me awake at night after reading those studies. If cats purr to heal themselves when in pain, and we are taught that purring means happiness, then how many times have we sat next to a cat in pain, listening to its purring, and done nothing at all? If this video is making you look at your cat in a different way, that is exactly why this channel exists. Now I want to talk about the most practical thing in this video. Because knowing that pain purring exists is one thing, but if it sounds no different from contentment purring on the surface, how do you tell them apart? There are actually three fundamentally different types of purring, and each type has its own characteristics if you know what you are looking for. The first type is contentment purring. This is the type most of us are familiar with, which is a steady, rhythmic, low frequency, and stable sound. The cat's body is completely relaxed, with no tension in the shoulders. The ears are facing forward or to the side comfortably. It usually happens when the cat is being petted, has just finished eating, or is in a familiar spot they chose beforehand. The second type is less well known, called solicitation purring. In 2009, researcher Karen McComb at the University of Sussex discovered that cats have a special type of purring they use when they want something, usually food. This type of purring has a high-frequency sound embedded within the background noise, sounding almost like a human infant's cry, but very quiet and very subtle. When Dr. McComb played this recording to people who had never owned a cat, they still felt a sense of urgency and wanted to respond immediately. This shows that it is a signal finely tuned by evolution to trigger the caregiving reflex in humans, and cats learn to use it intentionally with their owners. The third type is the hardest to recognize, which is pain purring. In terms of sound, it does not sound much different from contentment purring, which is the reason why we miss it. There might be slight interruptions in the rhythm, or the frequency is sometimes a bit higher than normal. But those differences are very small and completely unreliable if you only rely on your ears. The most important difference does not lie in the sound. It lies in what is happening around that sound. And that is what I completely missed. Not because I was not paying attention to the purring, but because I was not looking at what was happening along with that purring. There are 5 specific signals that I now always observe whenever I hear purring, and I want you to know all 5, because none of these signals are obvious enough that you would naturally notice them unless you know what you are looking for. The first signal is body posture. The cat is purring, but the posture is not completely relaxed. The front paws are tucked slightly inward instead of being extended comfortably, and there is a tiny bit of tension in the shoulder area. The tail is wrapped tightly around the body instead of being extended or left natural. These things look very much like a cat curling up out of comfort, but if you look closely, the body is not truly loose. The second signal is the area around the eyes. In 2019, a research group at the University of Montreal developed what is called the feline grimace scale, which is a map of cat pain expressions through 5 points on the face. And among those 5 points, the area around the eyes is the most reliable indicator. The eyes are not fully closed, or they are closed, but the muscles around the eyes have slight tension, as if they are squinting slightly. This is different from the completely soft, closed eyes of a cat that is truly relaxing. The third signal is the reaction when you touch them. The cat is purring, but when you touch a specific area on its body, the purring suddenly intensifies, or it shifts its body away slightly. This is not a conscious choice, it is a reflex. And it happens so fast that it is very easy to miss if you are not paying attention. The fourth signal is a change in surrounding habits. The purring sounds normal, but it is combined with partially skipping meals, drinking less water than usual, choosing a different resting spot than usual, or not jumping up to a familiar high place. Each of these things individually might not be concerning, but when they appear together with unusual purring, that is something to pay attention to. The fifth signal is something I saw and did not understand. Purring occurs when there is no obvious reason. The cat is not being petted, it is not eating, and it is not in a familiar spot where it usually chooses to rest. They are purring all alone in a quiet space, without any external stimulation. My cat was lying in the corner of the room purring, and I thought he was relaxing. I want to tell you why this is harder to detect than we think, not to excuse myself, but because understanding this will change how you observe. Cats in the wild are both predators and prey, and an animal that shows pain outwardly, by crying, by limping, or by moving abnormally, becomes a target for larger species. Evolution did not preserve individuals that were easily seen when weak. It preserved those that hid it best. And that means by the time a cat is at a level of pain where it can no longer hide it, when it stops eating completely, does not move, or cries out clearly, it is often past the stage where early intervention could make the biggest difference. This places us, the cat owners, into a position that I do not think many people fully understand. Your cat cannot tell you when it hurts, and its body is designed to hide it as effectively as possible. That means you are its only line of defense. Not the veterinarian who only meets them once or twice a year, and not anyone else in the house if they are not paying attention. Just you, every single day. And this is what I want to talk about next. Not to make you anxious, but to give you something specific you can start doing today. After the incident with my cat, I built an observation routine. It does not take much time, just about 60 seconds every day. But in the more than 3 years since then, it has helped me realize twice when something was wrong, before any obvious symptoms appeared. The first step is to pay attention to the context before the purring. Whenever you hear purring, the first question is not whether he is happy. The first question is what was happening right before it started purring. Was he being petted? Did he just finish eating? Is there a clear reason? If there is not, pay closer attention. The second step is to do a quick scan of their body language. The shoulders, eyes, and paw positions are 3 points that, within 10 seconds, give you enough information to start distinguishing. There is no need to judge immediately, just observe and note it. The third step is a gentle and systematic touch test. When the cat is purring, touch gently from the head down the back, along both sides, and the belly area if they allow it. Do not press, just place your hand and move slowly. Notice any area where they react differently, like shifting away, a change in the purring, or muscles tensing up under your hand. The fourth step is to compare it to last week's pattern, not yesterday's. Is the purring happening more frequently? Is it at times of the day that are different from usual? Is it combined with any minor changes in eating, drinking, or moving habits? I wish I had known these things 4 years earlier, not because I wanted to be the perfect cat owner, but because a week is too long for an animal to have to suffer in silence, while the person they trust most is sitting right next to them and failing to notice. Purring is one of the most familiar sounds to anyone who owns a cat. And what I want you to take away after this video is not anxiety every time you hear it. What I want you to take away is attention, paying attention in a different way than before. Because your cat does not have many ways to tell you that something is wrong, but they are always speaking in ways that only you, the person who lives with them every day, can recognize. You do not need a degree in animal behavior to do that. You just need to know what you are looking for. Please keep this in mind, that purring does not always mean happiness. Sometimes it means I am trying to be okay, and I need you to see how I really am. After I started paying attention to body language in this way, I realized there is another type of signal that I had also been ignoring for years. It is not about pain, but about something much more subtle. These are the small signs that appear when a cat begins to withdraw from their relationship with you. It does not happen suddenly or obviously, but little by little, in a way that is very easy to mistake for something else if you do not know what you are looking at. I have a video recording those exact signs and how to recognize them before it is too late. It follows right on from this point.